Hello YouTube, Myron Golden here, and I know you like this part of this video series, but you're gonna love the entire thing. I invite you to go back and watch the entire thing in sequential order. So if you're jumping in the middle somewhere, go back, watch the first video, then the second, then the third. Like, watch these videos in sequential order. They will bless you beyond measure.
All right, I'm gonna go into this quite deep. Gideon is one of my favorite Old Testament characters. Gideon was hiding from the Midianites, his enemy. And an angel addressed him as follows: "The Lord is with you, you mighty man of valor." The angel is not lying to him. The angel is speaking to the part of him that God made. Not the part of him that reflects his sociology, but the part of him that God made. The Lord is with you, you mighty man of valor. And Gideon argues, well, if the Lord is with us, why is all this happening? Where are all his miracles? God says, you'll save Israel. Me? He says, my father's house is the least in Manasseh, one of the tribes. But not just one of the tribes. Actually, not just one of the tribes. That's right. I have a gift like that, falling off as a gift. Part of this is dramatized sermons, right? Not just one of the tribes. Some of you will know the story. Jacob has his sons. Joseph is the special son. Joseph goes to Egypt, and Joseph has two boys in Egypt. Manasseh is the oldest, and Ephraim is the youngest. But when Joseph asked his father Jacob to bless his two sons, he positioned them as the oldest at the right hand and the youngest at the left, so that Manasseh was to get the special blessing and Ephraim a lesser blessing. And Jacob, because of his experience, right, crossed his hands. And he gave the greater blessing to Ephraim and a lesser blessing to Manasseh. So when Gideon said, my father's house is the least in Manasseh, he was saying, actually, my father's house is the least in the lowest of all the tribes. We're at the bottom of the bottom. And then he concludes, and I am the least in my father's house. So this is not now the bottom of the pan. This is under the pan that is now baked. I am the bottom of the bottom. God says, go in this your might, you will deliver Israel. God is not lying to him. And God is not lying to you when he tells you about the size of the enterprise you are getting ready to build. Woo! He's not lying to you when he speaks greatness into you. When God speaks millions and billions into your mind, he's not lying to you. He is speaking to the part of you that he made, because that part of you is fearless, courageous, ambitious. Actually, it has what I call the God gene and divine DNA, which means that there's a part of you that is omnipotent to you, to your assignment. Not omnipotent in anything, but in the thing you were created for. You are the most powerful entity in your world. You're omnipotent in your field. You're omniscient. You know exactly what to do next at a spiritual level. Even if it hasn't yet entered your mind, you know it. so that when it's suggested to you, it resonates with you. And you are in some strange way omnipresent when it comes to your domain. God is not lying to you. And what I'm going to tell you to do right now is not asking you to lie. Is asking you to agree with the truth. Because there is a difference. Woo! Why am I enjoying this so much? There is a difference between the truth and the facts. The truth is always a fact, but the facts are not always true. Because facts are physical, but truth is spiritual. And because the truth is spiritual, it belongs to a higher realm. It is a higher court. And the truth can overrule a fact. That's what a miracle is. It is the temporary suspension of a natural law that has been overruled by a higher court. So it's a fact that if you throw human beings into a furnace, their skin is going to burn. But this was not true for 3 Hebrew boys. It's a fact that hungry lions will eat you if given the opportunity. But this was not true for Daniel. And therefore, there will come a point in your life when you have to decide whether you are going to agree with the facts or you're going to believe the truth. You think you're ready for this? Because this is going to happen repeatedly in your life. The facts are going to come up against the truth, and you're going to have to decide whether you're going to agree with the facts or stand with the truth. And it will happen at each new level of your elevation as an entrepreneur. The facts are going to challenge the truth. And you're going to have to say, let God be true and every man a liar. So, the story of Jacob and his blessing, his inheriting the birthright, it always posed problems for me because I study the Bible in a very particular way. I'm curious. I ask the pages questions. I ask the characters questions as if they were there. No, I'm not delusional. It's just a study method, right? And I wondered why it is that Jacob could obtain the birthright by deceit. And God back him up and say, from now on, I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That one there who dressed up in fur and lied to his blind father, pretending to be Esau, conspired with his mother Rebekah to obtain the birthright by deceit. And yet God says, Jacob have I loved. I got issues with Esau. I love Jacob. That's my boy. I I'm struggling with that because it just didn't seem to fit. So I had to revisit the story. And here's what I found. I found that when Rebekah was pregnant with Esau and Jacob, God told her, 2 nations are in your womb, and the elder will serve the younger. So in her mind, the blessed one is the younger. When they were born, Esau came out first, but Jacob was attached to his heel. Right? Which in the tradition, unless there was a gap between the two, you couldn't actually determine who was firstborn. This was a bit of a cultural idiom that unless there was born, you couldn't clearly say. So in her mind, that second one, that's the one. So she builds a relationship with him in which she is convincing him, you are the one that God has chosen to inherit the birthright and the mantle of leadership for this family and the family of faith moving forward. You are the one. Now, society says, no, you're not the one. The facts say you are not the one. She says, you are the one.